Hi to you all, it's Laura here from Space Within. I hope you're well. I'm here today as usual to record a little message for you, a few minutes of a lesson, a life lesson that I had this weekend actually, and that I wanted to turn into a message that I could pass on and share with you in the hope that it will connect with you and might make you think about life and work in particular a little differently this week, or this month, or this year, or this lifetime. So it's a really simple one as usual, and the theme is, or the question is, when did you last have a day where you didn't have to live by the clock? When did you last have a day where you didn't have to live by the clock? So yesterday I had one of these, a day where there were no plans, there were no social engagements or commitments that I had to fall in line with, and it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. And I'm somebody who naturally doesn't like that much structure and doesn't really crave too much in terms of organisation. So it kind of comes quite naturally to me to just sort of go with the flow. But even though I'm that way inclined, life has taught me to be something else. So those of you that know me, some of you will be watching this and thinking, yeah, but Laura always makes plans and Laura always organises things, and that's true. I do. But actually at my most natural, in my most natural state, I don't like to make plans and I don't like to organise too much. And yesterday was an amazing day because I didn't have to do anything that was about living by the clock. And what struck me was that even though this is a preference of mine, and it's a preference of mine to be more relaxed, I don't wear a watch, I don't have clocks in the house, that kind of thing, that I still don't do it very often. And it really hit me yesterday that it was probably the first time, I'm going to definitely say the first time this year, that I hadn't lived by the clock, and maybe even longer since I've done that. And to just have this portion of time where there was space and I could follow my kind of energy, follow my interest, tune into the weather, just kind of go with the flow, was just so beautiful. It was really spacious, it was really relaxing and extremely restorative. Because there wasn't this sense of kind of needing to be elsewhere and be tuned into what time it was and where else I needed to be. So that's the connection. When we can live without time, then we can relax into the moment. So it's very much a mindfulness practice of being able to just be with whatever is. And we can just really kind of go with the flow because our brains aren't somewhere else. We're not projecting ourselves into the future and feeling like we need to be aware of what's going on outside of the current moment. That's why it's really good for the mind, body and soul, and certainly that's why I enjoyed it so much. But as I say, it's extremely rare, and so I wanted to pass that on to you and pose it as a question. So when was the last time you allowed yourself a day where you didn't have to live by the clock? And to also help you connect with why that could be useful to you, and perhaps even provoke you to consider when you could do it next. So there is a bit of an irony to this, that you might need to plan in a window where you don't have to live by the clock, or a day where you don't have to live by the clock, but that would be a really good way to protect it. I was reading an article on LinkedIn the other day, and it was by somebody who I think used to be the head of leadership development at Walmart or a big company like that. And he or she was talking about how they book themselves these untouchable days where they don't allow anything else to come in, and where they protect it in that way and just kind of allow themselves to go with what is. And often I talk to clients and colleagues about planning in white space, where you have an opportunity to just, again, go with whatever is. So it's slightly different. It's a variation on a theme. For me, the most useful thing is to not have to live by the clock and not have to be bound by time. But they're all versions of something where you can be more mindful, more present, and more boundaried actually about doing what it is that floats your boat in the moment, and about having time for you where you can rest and restore. So I'm going to leave it with you and leave it for you to consider when you can do this, whether or not it could be something that could be useful to you, and what kind of impact this could have on how you feel about yourself, about the people around you, and about life in general. If you do it, I'd love to hear how it goes. Yes, the irony of planning it in isn't lost on me, but you know, the reality is that's one of the ways to make it happen. So I suggest that's where you could start. So I'll leave it with you, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.